Have you ever sat down in your favorite chair, feeling a little more tired than usual and wondered, is this just aging? Or is something else going on inside me? Maybe your doctor mentioned your blood pressure was a little high at your last visit. Maybe you brushed it off because, let's be honest, it's one of those things we've all heard about for years, right? Watch your blood pressure. But what if I told you your blood pressure is quietly revealing more than just your heart health? It could be whispering something about how long and how well you'll live. Now that might sound dramatic, but here's the truth. Your blood pressure tells a story. A personal, powerful story about how your body is handling stress, aging, and even the smallest habits you may not think twice about. And the best part? You don't need a medical degree to understand what it's saying. You just need someone to break it down in plain English. That's what we're doing today. You see, after 60, your body starts giving you signals in ways it never used to. That occasional dizzy spell when you stand up, the pounding in your temples after a salty meal, or that slight breathlessness during a walk you used to breeze through. These are all signs that something might be off with your blood pressure, and it's your body's way of asking for attention. Ignoring it? That's like covering up a check engine light with a sticky note and hoping for the best. Now, I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to empower you. Because the truth is, there's a lot you can do starting today to understand, improve, and even reverse the damage that unhealthy blood pressure can cause. It's not just about numbers on a screen. It's about energy, longevity, independence, and most of all, quality of life. Let's begin with one of the most overlooked truths. High blood pressure often doesn't feel like anything at all. That's why it's been called the silent killer. It creeps up over time, often with no clear symptoms, slowly putting extra pressure on your arteries, your heart, your brain. And while you might feel just fine, inside, the wear and tear could already be building up. But here's the encouraging part. Small changes can have a big impact. Let's start with one of the most powerful tools you have, your daily routine. Did you know that even something as simple as the way you start your morning can influence your blood pressure for the entire day? For example, a calm, unhurried morning with deep breathing, a light walk, and a low-sodium breakfast can actually help your blood vessels relax, setting the tone for healthier circulation all day long. Compare that with a rushed, stressful start, and your blood pressure can spike before you've even finished your coffee. Now, speaking of coffee, here's another subtle signal your body might be sending. If you've noticed that your morning cup makes you feel a bit jittery or raises your heart rate more than it used to, that could be a clue. Caffeine sensitivity often increases with age, and for many people, it can temporarily raise blood pressure. That doesn't mean you have to give it up entirely, but it does mean paying closer attention to how your body reacts, and maybe dialing it back or choosing a half-caff option. Another key factor, hydration. Yes, good old-fashioned water. As we age, our sense of thirst weakens, which means it's easy to go hours without drinking much at all. But when you're even mildly dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker, and your heart has to work harder to pump it through your body. That's extra strain you don't need, especially if your blood pressure is already high. Try starting your day with a glass of water before anything else. It's a simple act that can lower blood pressure naturally and gently. Now that we've touched on those quiet but important morning habits, let's keep going. There's something else your blood pressure is telling you, something that goes beyond what you eat or drink. Because beyond your morning habits, your blood pressure also reveals something deeper, how your emotions are being handled by your body. You see, emotional stress doesn't just live in your mind. It shows up in your pulse, your breathing, and yes, in the pressure that your blood puts on your artery walls. Think about the last time you felt really anxious. Maybe you got some frustrating news. Maybe it was a phone call that brought up old tension. Did your chest feel tight? Did your heart beat faster? That wasn't just in your head. That was your nervous system sounding the alarm, and your blood pressure likely climbed along with it. Now imagine that happening day after day, quietly, without much release. Over time, that kind of pressure becomes chronic, and that's where the danger lies. But here's the good news. The same way emotional stress can raise blood pressure, emotional peace can help lower it. And you don't need to become a monk or move to the mountains to find that peace. It starts with simple, grounding habits, a 10-minute walk outside with no phone, breathing slowly for just a few minutes while sitting by the window. Even gentle music or the laughter of a grandchild can shift your nervous system into calm mode. It's not about forcing yourself to feel happy. It's about creating moments of stillness where your body can finally say, "I'm safe." And when your body feels safe, your blood pressure naturally begins to settle. Let's talk about movement too. Now, I know not everyone loves the word exercise, especially when your knees ache or your energy is low. But movement doesn't have to mean running laps or lifting weights. It can be a few laps around the kitchen during a phone call, stretching your arms while watching a show, or dancing a little while you do the dishes. The point isn't to sweat, it's to circulate. Because when your blood moves, your heart doesn't have to push so hard to do its job. And that, right there, is what keeps blood pressure in a healthier range. Some people are surprised to learn that being too sedentary, even if you're not gaining weight, can still raise blood pressure. Your circulation becomes sluggish, your arteries stiffen, and the pressure builds. But here's the beautiful part. The human body was designed to respond to movement at any age. In fact, studies show that even light physical activity in your 60s, 70s, and beyond can lower blood pressure just as effectively as certain medications, without the side effects. And let's not forget about sleep. If you're waking up tired, restless, or with a pounding heart, that's another clue your body is under stress. Poor sleep and high blood pressure go hand in hand. And again, the fix doesn't have to be complicated. Turning off screens and SOTI hour before bed, keeping your room a little cooler, drinking herbal tea instead of scrolling through the news. All of these small actions signal your body. It's time to rest, time to heal. So if your blood pressure has been trying to get your attention, whether it's been climbing slowly over the years or bouncing up and down like a yo-yo, it might be time to listen more closely. Because behind the numbers is a message, and that message is this. Your body wants to keep you here. It wants you to live longer, feel stronger, and wake up each day with energy and purpose. But it needs a little help from you to do it. And while we've talked about habits and emotions, there's another side to this story, something physical, something most people overlook, something you can't see or feel right away, but it can make all the difference. What's happening inside your arteries? Imagine them as flexible tubes that carry life to every part of your body. When you were younger, they were soft, stretchy, and quick to respond. But over time, especially if blood pressure has been creeping up, those arteries can stiffen. And once they stiffen, the heart has to push harder just to move the same amount of blood. That constant pushing is what slowly wears down the body. It's like trying to water your garden through a hose with a clog. The pressure builds and eventually, something gives. That's how strokes and heart attacks happen. Not overnight, but gradually, silently. And the scary part? You may not feel a thing until it's too late, but that doesn't mean you're powerless. There are natural ways to protect and even restore your blood vessels, no matter your age. It starts with what you put on your plate. And no, I'm not going to tell you to give up everything you love. But there's a big difference between eating to survive and eating to thrive. Simple swaps like using olive oil instead of butter or reaching for berries instead of sugary snacks can reduce inflammation in your arteries. That's right, reduce it. Foods rich in potassium, like bananas, sweet potatoes, spinach, help flush excess sodium from your system. Less sodium means less water retention, less swelling, and lower pressure inside your vessels. And about salt, it's not just about the salt shaker. It's the hidden salt in processed foods that sneaks up on you. Canned soups, deli meats, packaged snacks, they're loaded with it. If you start reading the labels, you'll be shocked. But once you know, you can choose better. More fresh foods, fewer packaged ones, more color on your plate, less beige. Your arteries will thank you, and so will your future. But let's not forget something equally important. Connection. Yes, connection. Your relationships, your conversations, your sense of belonging. Studies show that people who stay socially engaged as they age tend to have lower blood pressure, stronger immune systems, and longer lives. Why? Because laughter, touch, and genuine conversation release chemicals in the body that calm the heart, soften the vessels, and reduce stress. So if you've been feeling a little isolated, maybe it's time to pick up the phone, join a group, or even wave to a neighbor. It's not just good for the soul, it's good for your blood pressure too. All of these changes may seem small on their own. A morning walk, a glass of water, a better breakfast, a deeper breath, but together, they create momentum. They send a message to your body that says, we're not giving up, we're getting better. And when your blood pressure responds, when it starts to lower and stabilize, it's not just a number dropping, it's a sign that your body is healing, that your risk of stroke, heart disease, even dementia is falling, and your chance of living longer, stronger, and freer is rising. So here's what I want you to remember. It's never too late. Not in your 60s, not in your 70s, not even in your 80s. Your blood pressure is not your destiny. It's a signal, a guide. And with just a few intentional choices, you can change the direction you're heading in. You deserve a life with fewer pills and more energy, with clearer